Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the live show. Once again, it is Hit the Pick, baby. We're going to talk a little football this weekend. We got some NFL divisional round playoffs and maybe even a little Monday night action as the Buckeyes and Irish go at it for the national championship in college football. But first, let's see who we got here, and more importantly, who we don't have here. Oh, there he is. Now, and then there were four. I of course am your host, Scott the Steamroller Steen, with Hit the Pick. We'll start up here in the left-hand corner. It's the pride of Philadelphia. His team is still alive. Let's talk to Tom Macrina, Mr. Rye Cape. What's going on, my friend?
Yeah, not too much. Happy to see my team play another week. Hopefully, we got 2 more weeks to play after this. Does that say the Great White Love Machine?
Hey, you stole my thunder. I was going to get to that in my segment.
The Great White Love Machine.
Go on.
All right, there you go. Tom, we're anxious to get your thoughts about the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's go to the Great White Love Machine. And this is kind of unusual. I noticed there's four of us on here. All four of us, and we may not actively root for the team where we live, but all four of us live in a town where our teams are still alive. 4 of the 8 teams are represented right here. So, Sniper West, what's up? Still out there choking on smoke, buddy?
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I went to LA yesterday. I had to go to LAX, and it looks like at least the air has cleared up. But yeah, terrible situation. A lot of people lost their homes, and my prayers go out to all of them. But we'll rebound. That's what LA does, right? In regards to the Great White Love Machine, I'm dating a new lady, and I feel pretty good about myself. Let me tell you what. I might even be in love, boys. We'll see what happens. But yeah, you got to have confidence. Great White Love Machine. These quarterbacks need confidence going into these games, and I need some. I'm taking the lady out tonight too, so we'll see what happens. But I'm feeling pretty good. Just like Jalen Hurts should be feeling good. Matt Stafford should be feeling good. I don't know. Tom and I might have to duke it out with the LA Philly thing going on here, but we'll see what happens in that game.
All right, very good. And how long, just for grins, how long have you been dating this lady?
Let's call it a month now.
A month.
Yeah.
And she's the one, huh?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Very good. All right, we're going to go from the Great White Love Machine to Chocolate Thunder down here in the bottom left corner, representing the Houston Texans as they come to town to take on my Chiefs. It's David Delano. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, man? I know. I don't know where Loud is at. I thought that that's why we were doing this today instead of yesterday, but it's all good. Ready to talk here. I hate doing the car videos. I just want to let everybody to know I'm not homeless. I'm outside of my son's school right now. He's got soccer practice in a little, so that's why I'm in the car. I just always have to.
You sound like you're in space, man. You sound like you are so far away right now.
I am okay. I'll work on that as we keep going, but I'm glad to be here.
Hey, wait a minute. Hold on. Did we finally find a nickname for David Delano? Is that did I hear Chocolate Thunder?
Yeah, that's Daryl Dawkins.
No. Lenny is on with some of the other videos. They used to say Duffel Bag Dave. We don't have to stick to that, but definitely not Chocolate Thunder.
I like hey, Double D's cool.
All right. Yeah, double D's are always cool, buddy. All right. Hey, before this devolves even further, let's talk a little football, shall we? It's going to be the Houston Texans in their normal matinee or their normal Saturday matinee spot as they take on the Chiefs in the early game. Man, what a disrespect for that team. They never get any good spots at all. But they're going to play the Chiefs 4:30 Eastern, 7 or 3:30 Central. As they head to Arrowhead. Tom, which of these teams do you think is going to show up in their rule?
This is a tough one. I don't like to lay all those points really, but I think Kansas City is the way to go. They have the rest. I understand that they haven't played in almost a month now, meaningful football at least. But offensively, they're getting healthier. They have Brown, who's had some snaps. Pacheco's playing. We know how Mahomes and Kelsey are in the playoffs. There are a few trends I like, too, that gives me to that. But, yeah, So in a spread of -7 to 9.5, the favorite is 14, 25, and 1 to the ATS. What else do we got? So yeah, Andy Reid's 33-11 to the under as the 7-point home team favorite. Patrick Mahomes is 33-2 straight up, but only 12, 22, and 1 ATS. These are kind of fake Kansas City stats, so I'm staying away from the side, and I'm going with the under. I know these teams, I think like the last 6 times they played have been over. I think that changes this week. I think Kansas City slow.
Oh, go ahead, bud.
Hasn't been great in the second half.
Okay. Yeah, I got to tell you, those are 2 numbers that scares me a lot. That scare me a lot, and I was remiss. I didn't tell them at the top of the segment. 8.5 is what the Chiefs are favored by. 41.5 is the number, man. That's it's a low number. That is a low number. That scares me right there. Wes, what do you say?
I'm going to lay it here. I'm laying it with Kansas City. So Andy Reid, I'm sure you know this, Scott, being in the Kansas City area, but Andy Reid is just straight up money off a bye week. And this is actually kind of a double bye week, right? Because they didn't play in week 18.
Right.
So a lot of time to prepare here versus the Texans. Remember the Chiefs, it's just a battle tested teams. They've been here before. They've done that. They got a lot of rest. Their defense is very legit. I think their offense gets rolling after the rest. And I just, it's the Texans. They had a very good game against the Chargers. A couple of those interceptions, you can argue, were receiver-caused interceptions too, right? I mean, Herbert, he didn't play well, but some of those interceptions were lucky, I would say. So I'm going to lay it with the Chiefs here. Just too much experience. No Tank Dell, no Stephon Diggs for C.J. Stroud. I think they might be exposed here. I'm laying it with Kansas City.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When you see a quarterback throw a bad interception like that, you never know whose fault that is. Is a receiver running the wrong route on the tree? Was it supposed to be an in cut and he out cut? So, a lot of that stuff, it always gets laid at the quarterback's feet. But I'd say probably at least half the time, it's probably not his fault. Mr. Delano, these teams played a few weeks ago. Did Houston learn anything? Is it going to be a different game? Do you think they picked up on trends that'll be actionable in this one?
Well, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Much better.
All right. So I'll say this: out of all the 4 playoff games NFL we're going to talk about, this is the only one I have a pickup on over at Hit the Pick. So I don't want to telegraph it. I'm going to try to go a little bit out of the box on this, and I like the Houston Texans team total under. Right now it's 17.5. I'm thinking it's probably going to come down. I like it under 17.5. So I guess my answer would be I don't know if they have learned anything. The Texans, very impressive in the first playoff game, but also Justin Herbert threw 4 interceptions. Pat Mahomes is not going to do that. Texans have been great with the long field goals this year. I believe Fairbear with 13 field goals for over 50 yards. The cold weather in Kansas City, natural elements, it's going to be a little bit tougher there. The Texans have struggled. They've struggled offensively with their weapons out at wide receiver. Just now, Wes was mentioning the extra time that Andy Reid's had to prepare. Looking at this, I think this Kansas City defense. I mean, over the last couple of years, I know Mahomes and that offense gets so much credit, but the Chiefs, a solid defensive team. We saw them playing better at the end of the season, and I think that the Texans are going to have a hard time moving the ball and putting up points. So I'm going to go with the team total. I know it's a lot of points to lay, but I don't see the Texans getting more than 17 points in this game. So when I checked before the show, I saw it was 17.5. So I like under 17.5 for the Texans team total.
Yeah, that's great. You're getting the hook there on that key number of 17. That could end up being very, very important as you got to fight for every half point when you're making bets like that. I'm going to lay it with the Chiefs too. This game opened at 7.5. It's now up to 8.5. But this is a Chiefs team that kind of found their mojo there late in the season. They won their last 3, of course, not counting Denver, the Denver game where they actually rested 18 starters. They rested all 11 starters on offense and 7 starters on defense. But the 3 games before that, they beat Cleveland, Houston, and Pittsburgh by an average of 13.7 points per game. None of those games were closer than 8, and that was the Houston game that ended up 8. And that's a pretty good representation of how close that game was. Houston, were able to hang around there. as far as that total goes, 5 of the last 6 have gone under. The only game that didn't in that 6-game stretch, the Houston game. I'm probably going to stay away from the total, but I am going to lay that big number with the Chiefs. Call me Homer. That's exactly what I'm going to be in this one. So now the other, and this is it's an interesting schedule because the other Saturday game is the night game, and that features the other number 1 seed. So what the networks are telling us that the 2 games people really want to see are the 2 games on Sunday. So we've got the Commanders heading to Detroit to take on the Lions in that one. And the number right now stands as the same as Kansas City. Detroit is minus 8.5. Total's a little different though. 55.5 is your number right there. Tom, what has your interest piqued in this one?
Yeah, I actually think we're going to see a blowout in this one. Detroit is the seasoned team here. They made it to the NFC Championship last season. I think they're the more hungry team. They're the better team.
Wes, I think your girlfriend's whistling for you.
Yeah, that's my bird. Yeah,
No,
so
okay.
Washington, they had an impressive season this year, but Daniels is still a rookie quarterback. Rookie quarterbacks have not done well in these divisional games, especially as a wild card.
Wes, you got to hit mute or something, buddy. Come on.
No, that's it. It's Tom.
His bird,
Oh, it's Tom. Okay.
his bird's practicing to be a line judge. So
man, I got my bad. All right. Now, yeah, so Detroit is 17-4 ATS when coming off a double-digit win since 2018. 18-4 ATS when playing with extra days rest. They are 21-7-1 versus a team with a winning record. What I really like here is the Commanders team total under. I like a team total under as well. That is set at 23.5. So I don't think they're going to score a lot. I think Detroit's going to run away with this one, and they are going to have problems catching up Washington.
All right, very fine. Wes, what say you?
Hey, Tom, does that bird talk at all? Can you teach it to speak anything?
He doesn't talk, but obviously he carries conversations when I'm talking.
I was going to say you should
don't play parlays. Don't play parlays.
I was going to say you should teach him the Fly Eagles Fly song.
Yeah.
Hey,
so I like
here. All right.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Loud?
Go ahead, Wes.
Over in the Washington and Commanders game. I'm going to go a little bit different than Tom. I think the Commanders will score enough to push this game over.
Take it, Loud.
I'm sorry?
Very good. Oh, we were going to get to you, but you hopped right in. Very good. Very good.
Well, I thought that's what you were asking.
No, I was just commenting on the fact that you were here. There was another person that joined us. Now all 5 founders have arrived. So there you go. Loud's got the over. What do you got, Wes?
I'm rolling under. So
okay.
It's just absurdly high, 55.5. And I get it. It's Lions, fantastic offense. Jaden Daniels, fantastic quarterback. If you remember, when the Commanders played the Buccaneers last week, the total was 50.5, and it didn't snip 50.5, right? So the Lions, they had a week off to prepare, right? Washington, they come in off that great win over Tampa. I just think I do agree with Tom. I do think it's going to be a blowout, but I don't want to lay the points. But I could see if they are really blowing out the Commanders, I could see them sitting Goff and starters, maybe even into the fourth quarter. If it's like a 2-touchdown game, 17-point game, 21-point game, and they just take their foot off the gas, and 55.5 is just an absurdly high number. And I just have to go under just based on that number being so high.
That's fair. And it could be countered by the fact they'll probably play a lot softer on defense and rest some of their defense as well. You get into that prevent defense where they, keep everything 20 yards or longer in front of them and let them just go down the field. Mr. Delano, anxious to get your take on this one.
Yeah, I don't really want to play the total in this one. With a total this high, I don't really want to take the over, but I'm not rushing to bet an under. I like the side though in this one. And I know we've talked about this before, Scott, where you say, would you bet on a team? Should you only bet on a team that you think can win if a dog can win? And not so much in the regular season or in college, but in the playoffs, a lot of times I feel that way, even with the big favorites. A lot of times they cover when they win. And the way that this season's gone, with a lot of these favorites, when you felt like it's just too many points and you take a dog that you don't think can win, it hasn't worked out too well. So I like the Lions in this one to cover. I think that the Lions are going to win this by double digits. And with a total this high, I don't think that the Lions are going to try to, I guess, stop biting kneecaps or take their foot off the Commander's neck, however you want to say it. I mean, we got a total of 55. Well, even if they're up 17 points in the fourth quarter, I don't think that that's enough to lay off. I think the Lions are, this is a city, Detroit, that's never even been to a Super Bowl. We know what happened last year. They got that bye week. I think the Lions are going to try to pour it on, and no lead's going to be safe. And I definitely think the Lions are going to get their points. I don't know if the Commanders will or not, but I have Detroit winning by double digits, and I like the Lions to cover.
All right, very good. Ryan, get that graphic ready because here we go. I'm going to take the Commanders plus the points right here, guys. Washington has played 4 games this season against playoff teams. 4 of the 5 times they beat the number of 8.5. The only time they didn't was against Tampa Bay in the opener, Jaden Daniels' first game as a professional football player. And I'd say they avenged that pretty well last Monday night. Washington is remarkably healthy for this time of year. And Detroit, while they're getting Montgomery back, and that's a good thing, they are still running on fumes in the defensive backfield. Jaden Daniels has some time to throw. And Detroit, of course, they like to play man coverage, man. They like to show you what studs they are, regardless of their personnel. Man coverage means those guys are going to have their backs to the line of scrimmage if Jaden Daniels decides to take off. Will they use a spy? Maybe. Is a spy going to be fast enough or agile enough to keep up with Jaden Daniels? Highly unlikely, and it does mean you're playing 11 on 10 if they use that spy. So I think the Commanders are going to have some offensive success here, and that's why I'm going to take the Commanders as my lone wolf play plus 8.5. That's beautiful.
Very nice.
Absolutely beautiful.
Just so that everybody knows, I didn't just come into this late and not be prepared. There is reason behind why I'm taking the over. The Lions score an average of 33.8 points per game, and the Washington Commanders score 28.5. Do the math on that, and you're at 62.
Yeah.
What did you say? 38 and 28?
33 and 28.
All right, very good. You can't argue with the math. Loud, the only game you missed was the Chiefs game. Who you got there, buddy?
I'm not going to bet against the Chiefs because every time I do, I lose.
Okay.
So I'm not doing that. What was the point? What's the point
41 and a half, my friend. 41.
That's the over under. And what's the point spread?
8.5.
Yeah. I don't want anything to do with this game, honestly.
Okay.
The Chiefs are going to win. That's the only thing I'm sure of.
All right, very good. We're done with Saturday. Let's move on to Sunday and take a look at the early game there. That's going to be a 3:01 Eastern time start. It's the Rams heading to the city of brotherly love to take on the Phillies. Phillies 6.5-point favorites, 44, and the hook. We'll get you the number here. You know the one we want to hear from. Let's start with him. It's the Phillies' favorite son. Well, second favorite son after Rocky. Have you climbed the steps and put your arms over your head and danced around, Tom?
Of course I have. Many times.
Was there drinking involved?
Sometimes.
All right.
Sometimes not.
Very good. You going to this? Are you going to this one at the link, brother?
No,
you be there?
Too cold for me.
Yeah, by the way, that weather in Kansas City is absolutely going to go to crap. We're going to have 2 decent days here with temperatures in the 40s today. Tomorrow, Saturday, it all goes south. We're going to have highs in the high teens with winds up to 25 miles an hour. So it won't cost people digits like the Miami game did last year. By the way, I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but we had close to 20 people that lost a digit because they went to that Miami game. So nobody ever said we're smart here in the Midwest. All right, go ahead, Tom.
So yeah, the Rams aren't used to playing outside. Possible snow here. It's supposed to be one of the coldest weeks in years. So that's on. We played the Rams early in the season. Saquon Barkley went off. I guess if the Rams are going to try to stop that, they have a great defensive line, but we have a great offensive line. I think Saquon Barkley is going to be able to get his yards. Even if he doesn't, Jalen Hurts should be fine enough to get the ball to A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. I think Goddard has a big day. I like this Eagles defense. I don't see him. Maybe they go down the field in the first drive and score a touchdown, but after that, I think this Eagles defense tightens up. So I think we cover this number. What is it now? 6.5?
8. It was 6.5. Yeah, still less than a touchdown.
6.5. I think they covered 6.5. I think they. I actually think they win by 10 or more. But Nick Sirianni is 16-5 ATS as a single-digit home favorite since 21, and Jalen Hurts is 16-10-1 as a home favorite.
Couple of very good trends there. You know, Wes, we saw a pretty good pass rush out of the Rams last week. Of course, that's kind of an understatement. I think they have 9 sacks in that Minnesota game. But these guys are young, man. These guys are really young. Does that start making a difference as you get deeper into the playoffs?
I believe it does. I guess Sam Darnold was seeing ghosts once again, right? The ghosts.
I was on Gabe's show and I said he sees more ghosts than the Mystery Machine, man.
That he does.
So you're thinking we're not going to have a repeat performance with Hurts getting sacked 9 times?
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, regarding the Rams, they look very solid, and obviously their defense looked very good. But this Philly defense, like Tom alluded to, very much improved this season. I just think they're going to give the Rams trouble. This team is not the Minnesota Vikings. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. Fantastic defense. I do agree with Tom also. Philly is going to run the ball. That's their MO, right? Jalen Hurts, he's had a decent year, and I know that, he was out for a little bit with the concussion protocol, but I think they want to dominate time of possession here. I think they want to play Philadelphia Eagle football, which is to run the ball, control the clock. I think that's exactly what they're going to do, and I think they win this one going away. I'm laying the points with the Eagles. I actually got it at 6 earlier in the week. But Philly, they play very well at the link, and they're 10-3 against the number of the last 13 games, so don't ask me why. They're covering numbers, and I think they cover another number here.
Yeah, very good. And yeah, speaking of that rush game, Philadelphia behind only Baltimore when it comes to rush yards per game, 178 rushing yards per game. So that is a team, despite having a pretty good core of receivers and a good quarterback, definitely relies on Saquon Barkley and the run game to get it done. And this is a Philadelphia team doesn't give up a ton of sacks. They're 19th in the NFL. They're giving up just 2.6 sacks per game. So the Rams are definitely going to have to earn it here, as opposed to the Vikings. Vikings almost dead last. They're 30th out of 32 when it comes to giving up sacks. So they're definitely going to have a much more difficult time against this Philadelphia offensive line. A very, very good offensive line, by the way. Mr. Delano, what say you?
Yeah, now this one, as far as the side, this is the one that I really don't, like either way. What I do like, I'm going to go with another team total in this one, and I'm actually going to look at the Eagles team total, and I'm going to go under 24.5. I don't want to rely on a lot of the regular season stats. I know the Eagles are a completely different animal, but this Rams defense been very impressive. Also going to have another cold weather game. I think they've held with 4 of their last 5 opponents to under 10 points. I don't see them doing that, but I think for the Eagles could get to 24, but they need to get higher than that in order for this one to lose. I'm going to trust that. I'm going to take the outcome of who covers out of it, and I'm going to trust the Rams defense at least enough to keep the Eagles below 25 points. I'm going to go over 24.5 for the Eagles team total.
Very good. Yeah, I'm coming around to the warm weather team playing in cold weather. I poo-pooed it when was it SMU that went up to play Army?
Yes.
And it was going to be like in the
Tulane.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. It was like in the 20s. I said, it doesn't matter. These guys, they're all good college football players. They can play in the cold. And Tulane went up there and acted like they've never been north of the Arkansas border. So I believe there could be something to that in a Rams team that while they don't technically play indoors, it's indoors-ish. And it's LA. So, it's like playing indoors anyway. So I think the weather could be a factor in there. Loud, what say you? Is the weather going to factor into your decision on this game?
Matt Stafford's played in 2 games where the temperature was below 40 degrees. He's 1-1 in those games. And in one of those games was in Green Bay, and it was about 18 degrees. He threw for 302 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Okay. So what does that mean to you?
Well, I think the Rams are the most likely team to get an upset this weekend. I don't think the Ravens and the Bills, either one winning would be considered an upset. I don't think the Texans have a chance against the Chiefs, and I don't think the Commanders can upset the Lions. But the Rams are so dangerous with their offense when those receivers get going. I mean, I don't understand how those guys keep ending up 7-8 yards away from the nearest defender, but somehow they keep doing it. And I was really impressed with the defensive line play and the way they got after it last week. By the way, with a rest disadvantage against the spread this year, the Rams are 3-0. So whatever they're doing as far as when they're on short time or coming against a team that's had a bye or whatever, they're doing something right. But the main thing in this game for me is I don't trust the Philadelphia coach. I just don't. I could see him making, and I'm sure Tom could too, seeing Sirianni make a couple of boneheaded decisions like go for it at 4th and 3 at the 12-yard line when they could get an easy 3 points and not getting it a couple times a game, or just vapor locking in clock management or something. And I could see the Rams sneaking in the win here. I'm definitely going to take them plus the points. So I guess, am I the lone wolf on this one?
I think you are. I think, well, yeah, I've got the Eagles to cover here. I think this offensive line for the Eagles is going to make all the difference, and a competent running game. And I know the Vikings had Aaron Jones, but it's hard to run when you're behind, and it's hard to fool anybody when your quarterback is under that kind of pressure. So I think the offensive line and Saquon Barkley make all the difference in this one. I've got the Eagles to cover. So yes, Loud, that does.
Well, then I get the lone wolf now.
I don't know how many weeks we're going to do this before I stop laughing every time I see that, but it ain't going to happen this week. I'll tell you that.
Nope.
All right, let's go to the closer, the big kahuna, the top banana, the one that everybody apparently wants to see. This is the Baltimore Ravens as they headed up to Highmark Stadium, whatever the hell it is. Who cares? Rich Stadium, that's what it is. Baltimore Ravens, Buffalo Bills. Ravens are the road favorite in this one, and 51.5 is your total. Both the night games have huge totals this weekend. Thomas, let's have you start off finishing up here the NFL.
Yeah, I don't know. These are two teams that love to disappoint in the playoffs. I kind of want to take the home dog, but all my trends are telling me do not do that. These teams did play earlier in the season. Baltimore crushed Buffalo. Teams that won by 21 or more in the opening game between teams are 70-42 ATS in the rematch, 62.5%. Home teams that won 1 or 2 more games in the regular season than their visiting opponents, but are favored by 3 or fewer. They're 10-21 ATS in their last 31. That's a fade on Buffalo. Harbaugh is 8-2 straight up, 9-0 ATS against good run offenses. I think I got to go with Baltimore here. I don't know. It's yeah.
You need to teach your bird to spit those trends out. 9-0 ATS Harbaugh. Very good. All right. We've got one in the corner of the visiting Baltimore Ravens to cover that number. Wes, are you getting involved in this one?
I am. So, well, speaking of the weather, so there is a lot of snow expected here. I believe I saw that on Twitter or something. Also, Buffalo, they're building that new stadium and they didn't put a dome on it. And I get, Buffalo, it's the tradition of, not having the roof and everything. But it seems to me every time I watch the Bills play in a lot of snow lately, they don't do well. So it's kind of like it doesn't seem like much of a home field advantage. Also, too, for concerts and stuff, I mean, it's always snowing in Buffalo. Don't you think they have? I don't know how many musical acts go to Buffalo, but you think that they, miss out on a lot of concerts because of weather too. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents on the stadium there.
Have you ever played Buffalo, buddy?
Have I ever played Buffalo?
Yeah, as a band.
I haven't.
Okay.
I've never been to Buffalo.
I didn't know.
Worth asking.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've been to Buffalo. I played a show in Buffalo.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was great wings, terrible town.
There you go.
All right, what do you got here, bud?
A little bit of celery and blue cheese too for the wings, but so the Bills, they're hosting. So the Ravens are coming to Buffalo here. So obviously a lot of snow, like I said, and like Tom alluded to, the Bills, they lost 35-10 back in week 4 to the Ravens. The Ravens manhandled Buffalo in that game. In fact, I think I watched that game with Loud. Remember watching that game, Loud? We watched that game together.
Absolutely.
And so I think that they're going to have good success again. And Buffalo, they've been able to move the ball all year. Say what you want about Stephon Diggs leaving, but I don't know if it's next man up or what happened, but Josh Allen's had a much better year without Stephon Diggs this year. I like the over here. I think there's going to be a lot of points. I think it's a high-scoring game. Speaking of trends, I got a couple for you here. So the total's gone over in 7 of Buffalo's last 10 games, and the total has gone over in 13 of Baltimore's last 18 games. So both these teams are trending over.
Stats.
Both teams are trending over. Both teams have high-power offenses, and I just think it's going to be a lot of points. And give me the over here.
All right. Well, and I would counter that stat as far as the Buffalo goes with the fact that they haven't given up more than 20 points since the 25th of November.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. They gave up 24 to Philly on December 1st, and then they've given up 14, 17, 2, and 10 in the 4 games since then. So that would be my only counter to that. Mr. Delano, what do you say?
Yeah, I give my thoughts on this one, and I'm going to have to roll. Well, I mean, and I know the 49ers didn't have a great season, but Bills looked pretty good in that snow game this year when they played, and it was a lot of snow. Everybody I really have talked to, and everybody likes the Ravens, so I could be wrong, but I like the Bills in this one. I know that they destroyed them the first time around. This is one of those games I'm more anxious to watch it than I am to bet it. I don't really. It's one of those situations like Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. So many times people will like tear down one side to make the case for the other. I mean, both of these teams are outstanding, but I'm going to go with the Bills in the snow. There's something about the Ravens, and I will, take it for what it is. I got 2 favorite teams when it doesn't come to betting. Besides the Browns, it's whoever's playing the Ravens. So I do hate the Ravens. So if you want to fade me, that's fine on this one. But until I see the Ravens win the Super Bowl, I just don't believe it. I think this is time. I think it's time for the Bills, and I'm going to roll with them.
How old were you when the Browns left town for Baltimore? Oh no, that was the Colts. That was the Colts, right?
No, that was the Browns. Like the Colts. Yeah, I was
in the middle.
I was like 9.
Okay. Oh, what a terrible age! What a terrible age.
Well, the thing about it was I was really just starting to get into football, and the Browns, they had that. I remember that playoff win with Vinny Testaverde when they beat the Patriots. Like that was like one of my earliest memories of the Browns. Started off pretty good, and then they started out
then they left
and won a Super Bowl in Baltimore. And I'm still not over it. It was my first heartbreak.
Was Belichick the head coach back then? Yeah.
All right. Loud, what do you got on this one?
I like the over in this game. I think both these teams won't have trouble playing in the snow. They're both cold weather teams. I can see what I'm seeing in my head is Derrick Henry scores, Josh Allen scores, Derrick Henry scores, Josh Allen scores. Derrick Henry goes for 10. Josh Allen runs for 15. I think Allen's going to put on the Superman cape, and if they're smart, they're going to lean on Derrick Henry with the running game in Baltimore, but that doesn't mean they're not going to score a lot of points because Derrick Henry can rip off long runs and score a lot of points. A lot of times you think, oh, the team is going to run the ball, so it's going to be a low total. Now, I don't see that with Baltimore, and I also see this being a game that's going to be decided late. I think these teams are going to go back and forth. It's going to be like a great heavyweight boxing match. Haymaker after haymaker after haymaker, and they both are going to be still standing going into the 15th round. That's the way I look at this.
Okay. All right. Very good. For me, this is a no-brainer. If I'm catching the Bills as a dog at home,
Yeah,
I'm gonna do it. And you talked about both of these teams have been disappointing in the playoffs. The Bills are really just generally disappointing when they play Kansas City. Baltimore is disappointing in the playoffs just about regardless of who they play. Not week, last week notwithstanding. So I'm going to roll with the Bills in plus 100 on the money line here. I looked at the weather. It looks like the big snow is coming in Saturday. They're going to have flurries throughout the day on Sunday, maybe a little Sunday evening, but it should be a pretty decent night there as far as precipitation goes, at least during the game. That's what it looks like right now. Of course, still 72 hours away, so anything can happen. All right, so normally this would be the end of the show. We talked about every NFL game. We all weighed in our opinion, but this is the bonus episode because we have the national championship game on Monday night between Loud's Notre Dame Fighting Irish and the Ohio State Buckeyes. This is the weekend of 8.5, kids, because Ohio State is an 8.5-point favorite in this game. So let's start off with Tom. Tom, Ohio State, Notre Dame, total 46.5. What's got you excited about this one?
Yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about this one because I have futures on Notre Dame and I have a premium on the total. Okay. But yeah, I'd like to see Notre Dame here. I think 8.5 is a lot of points. Obviously, okay. I want Notre Dame to win the championship. That's who I'm rooting for.
Very solid. Wes, 8.5, a lot of points. Does it scare you away?
Yeah, I do think that Notre Dame could be an active dog here, but I'm rolling the under 46. Is it still 46? I actually haven't looked at the line today. I think it was 46.
The latest total on FanDuel, 46.5.
So I'll take under 46.5. So first off, regarding the side, the Irish are getting sharp money because the the spread has come down. But Notre Dame, if you remember, obviously they should be undefeated. I remember doing the betting in the break show with Loud on the day that NIU beat the Fighting Irish, and he was not in a very good mood, to say the least. But one thing I'll say about Notre Dame, they have covered spreads all year. Loud can attest to that. They're 13-2 against the spread this year. Very interesting note here. I don't know if you guys know this, but I saw this and I had to kind of do a double take. So as it relates to yards per game, Ohio State is number 1 in the nation. They only give up 12.2 points per game. Guess who number 2 in the nation is?
I'm going to go with Notre Dame.
It's the Irish.
Notre Dame. They're number 2, 14.3. So is it a coincidence that the two top defenses are in the championship game? I think not, right? Defense wins championships, or at least gets you to the championship game. So I like this to be a defensive battle. I think both these defenses have stepped up all season, and I am going to roll with the under here, 46.5. I think it's a highly contested game. I don't think it's going to be anything like Notre Dame's last game. That was a very high-scoring game, which, by the way, I had the under in that game, and it was 10-10 going into the fourth quarter, and I lost. The game went over, so that was just a heartbreaker for me.
Yep, same for me.
But I am on the under here in the national championship game with Notre Dame and Ohio State, under 46.5.
All right, very good. By the way, I've already worked out the transitive property national champion. If Notre Dame wins, the real national champion would be North Texas. So there you go.
Hey.
When you get an NIU upset, it gives you a lot of room. It gives you a lot of room to find that transitive property national champion. So Loud, I know you're a homer in this one. Are you going to make a homer play?
Just a couple of notes that I think are important. A lot of talk about Notre Dame being without their starting left tackle. Now, that's true. They're going to be without their starting left tackle. However, in that game that they won last week against Penn State, he went down with the injury, and they moved the line around, shuffled in a guy from right guard to left tackle who had played left tackle previously. And then they brought in somebody at right guard, and the offensive line really didn't miss a beat. Does anybody remember the Notre Dame offensive line looking bad in the second half? I don't.
No.
So, and Notre Dame, if any team can replace offensive linemen, it's Notre Dame. I mean, they get the best offensive line prospects in the country to go to Notre Dame. They turn them out every year. There's Notre Dame linemen going in the NFL draft. So I think that may be a bit overblown. I've got a premium on the total and on the side in this game that I'm going to be putting up. So that's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Well, the only thing I would counter with that is Penn State did have 5 sacks. So it wasn't like they Riley Leonard was unscathed there in the backfield. But point taken about what you're saying there. So should be a good game. This is going to be 2 very good defenses. I totally understand the logic of taking the under in this game. I like Notre Dame here catching the points. They're 11-2 ATS this season. They are a perfect 8-0 when they move away from touchdown Jesus. So I just think it's 2 points, too many points. I think you're probably should be more in the line of 6 to 6.5 with this game. I think we're getting 2 points of overlay, and that's hard for me to ignore. I'll take the Notre Dame Fighting Irish in this one to keep it within a score. Anybody else got any final thoughts? Anything you want to say before we get out of here?
It is really unfortunate that both the Ravens are playing the Bills in the playoffs, because having one of those 2 teams eliminated and not getting to take a shot at Kansas City seems unfair to me.
I agree.
It's life, buddy. Shouldn't have lost stupid games, or Ravens shouldn't have lost to the Raiders.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's the way it works. So, yeah, I'm excited for the weekend. It's going to be a great weekend. It's a bonus weekend. It's divisional rounds plus a national championship. Should be a lot of fun. As always, guys, don't forget to like our channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you head on over there to hitthepick.com. Everybody that stops by and signs up gets $100 in free site credit to spend however you want to do it. And all our picks, daily picks, are $25 for the most part. We've got some packages you can spend it on as well. So, but if you want single picks over there, 4 picks, absolutely free from any one of these 5 experts. So make sure you check out hitthepick.com. And of course, while you're here watching this video, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And most importantly, drop us a comment. Let us know what you're on this weekend. Let us know what you're playing. Do we have it right? Do we have it wrong? Are you lone wolfing it yourself? Whatever it is, let us know. All right. Guys, as always, thanks for joining us. We will try to be here every week, Thursday, Wednesday, whatever works for everybody's schedule. A lot of moving parts here going on, but we'll be with you to preview the weekend's coming action. Even after football's over, we're still going to talk basketball. We'll talk some hockey. I know we got some hockey guys here. I'm not a hockey guy, but I think everybody else is. So we'll talk some frozen pond stuff as well. In the meantime, everybody have a great weekend. Stay warm, buckle in, and most importantly, let's go beat the hell out of the books. All right. Everybody take care. And for me, for Tom, for Wes, for Lou, and for the departed David Delano, I'm Scott Steen. You guys take care. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Hit the Pick.